This is SyncStar Podcast.
I don't even know what date it is, man. It's the 18th of February, 2012. This is SyncStar Podcast. I'm Tim.
I'm CJ. Hey, I'm getting a strange sense of deja vu. Do you think I should see a doctor?
No, it's almost like we've done this before, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
It's almost like we've already recorded this podcast today.
Yeah, it really is like that, isn't it?
That's kind of annoying. Maybe it's because we have, and I just accidentally deleted it all.
Because you're a twit.
I thought you were going to swear at me.
No. You see, after last week, where we talked about our target audience, I realised that I should probably cut down on the amount of profanity I use.
Fuck.
Tits. But, shut up, that's not the point. Because it may be insulting to some of our more conservative viewers.
Yeah. Do we have conservative viewers? Apart from David Cameron. We know David. We know the Prime Minister is a big fan of the show.
Cock. Dickhead.
Jesus. Okay, so my mum bought me a cup the other day. Well, it's actually the other week, but who cares, right? It was the other day, and right. I have to sort of. I've mentioned this to a couple of people now because every time I say "Oh, I got a new cup," and it is something.
Is it a cup or is it a mug?
It's a mug, and it is something I want to bring up because it's huge. It's like a bucket. It's a real conversation point.
Is it can you fit like a kettle's worth of water in it?
Depends on the size of the kettle. If it's a mug-sized kettle,
we're talking about a 1.25 litre kettle here. You standard.
It's not a mug. Kettle. It's not a mug that can hold 1.2 litres of water.
I know of a mug in my household that can hold that much.
You're getting me off topic. When I say to people, my mum bought me this amazing mug, it's got like cocks painted on it, and people say, "Whoa!" and I'm like, it's got roosters painted on it. Sorry.
When it's a cockerel, okay, don't shorten it to cock. It's cockerel.
Why don't they call them cockerel fights then?
And I don't know why. Cockerel.
Have you ever been to a cockfight?
Okay, no, I haven't. Let's just call them chanticleers.
I want to go over the news, the stuff that happened today, because, we already did it, and it feels like, I can't bring it up to you as though it's new anymore, because we've already done it, but let's just pretend it's new. We were talking, Pitch Black, the film, Vin Diesel came out today. Brilliant film.
Yeah, it is quite a good. Did you know that Vin Diesel plays, I can't do this. I can't do this.
No, I'll tell you what, CJ, you actually can, because I don't even remember what you told me last time.
This is worse than the Endless Eight, okay?
I wasn't, in all seriousness, I was not listening to you when you last spoke to me. I cannot remember what it was that you said to me.
What's going to happen is we're going to repeat this sequence of events 1,500 times until we've figured out what we've been doing wrong.
It's Groundhog Day.
It's the Endless Eight, but yeah, whatever.
Did you know
that Vin Diesel played...
Shut up. Did you know in Atlanta, because they don't have Groundhog Days, it's called Marmot Day?
Aren't they like the same thing?
I don't know. No, I don't think they are.
Wait, what's a groundhog? Because it sounds...
What's a marmot? Isn't it a groundhog?
A marmot is like... A groundhog is a woodchuck. Groundhog is an interchangeable...
It's like a giant mole, isn't it? Or a beaver?
It belongs to the same family as marmots. It's basically a large squirrel.
Did you know, CJ, that today, in a previous year, like 2010, 2 years ago, that Chuck Lorre was complaining about a program in Belarus called the Theorists. Have you ever heard of the Theorists?
No, it sounds familiar though.
It is, and if I was to say that it's basically a show about 4 scientists and a blonde waitress, and that the characters are called Sheldon, Leo, Raj, and Hovard.
Oh, do tell. This sounds fascinating.
There aren't... How many people are there called Sheldon? I don't think I've ever heard the name Sheldon before.
Sheldon is a very common turtle name, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of it in anywhere else other than this program from Belarus.
Well, there's a place called Sheldon in Australia. Many places
America.
in England called Sheldon, and the USA.
Okay, well,
there's also a lot of people called Sheldon.
You're just talking shit now.
Sheldon Glashow was the 1979 winner of the Nobel Prize in Physics.
Sometimes you're just kind of... Trivia knowledge is astounding.
I know, right?
I feel like I talk to you and I'm like, how does he know all this stuff? It's just mind-blowing.
Here's something that will blow your mind. There's a person called Sheldon Leonard, who's an actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
As in Leonard as... Oh, wow, that is bizarre.
Oh, well, he was an actor. He's dead.
Oh, you depressed me now.
Well, he was 90 years old. I'd be more depressed if he was sitting in an old folks' home at 100 and... Wait, how long ago was 97?
How long was he 90 for before he died?
Oh, he was 89. He was a month and 12 days away from being 90.
How old is 90 these days? I mean, because, like, how many people... Is the average age that people die at in the UK like 86 or something?
Something like that, yeah. It's higher in other places in the world because of, diets and everything. Like, for instance, Germany, Japan, all those places have much higher diets because of the lower consumption, presumably, of processed foods.
Yeah.
The UK life expectancy, I'm just looking this up. It's 80 up. First world countries are 80 up. That's
80 up.
Surprisingly, America has a lower life expectancy than pretty much any other first world country. In fact, out of the developed nations, it has the lowest life expectancy, it seems.
America? Well, no, is that really surprising?
No, that's not surprising. Canada is better. Australia, New Zealand, the Nordic countries, with the exception of that one.
CJ, let's just stop this horrific. What are we doing? Why are we talking about life?
Because we talked about all the interesting stuff before you fucked up.
We were talking about the Theorists. So, this is a program, and I'm sure you'd be amazed for me to tell you a second time that every episode of the Theorists is essentially an episode of the Big Bang Theory of all programs. Translated into Russian. That wasn't convincing. You started saying that before I finished.
I can't do this, really. It's just...
Look, I mean, all I ask for you is once a week for 30 minutes to an hour for you to squeeze some, professionalism out of the bottom of the toothpaste tube. And that's what I feel
You've already had half of that professionalism before you stuffed up.
We only lost 10 minutes. We didn't lose the whole episode. Well. You can keep going until 10 minutes before the end of the episode, and then I'll let you go to shit.
Okay.
I've got the toothpaste.
Stop rabbiting. Come on, let's get on with this.
Professionalism, I'm just slamming on it with a rolling
I'm just clicking my fingers.
And that's what I want to do to your face. I just want to slam on it with a rolling pin.
Do you remember the video game Amnesia? Because I'm just going to move us on right here.
I've played the hell out of it.
You've played Amnesia. Did you find it scary?
Yes.
Was it startling?
My issue with Amnesia was when I played it on my own. Yeah, I found it scary.
Did you play with the lights off and low brightness and everything?
Yeah, I did the whole proper experience, which it advises you to do with play with headphones on and play without any television on.
You see, I would have thought that 7.1 surround sound would be better, especially if they put in 3D precision on audio. But anyway.
People say this, but to be honest, it's like with hypnosis tapes. If you're listening to it, you can have all surround sound and everything. It will never work as well as if you have just a crappy pair of headphones on. If you put headphones on, it'll knock you out like a light. But if you do it with speakers, it might not do anything at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The headphones are more immersive, even though you've got something stuck on your head.
I don't notice it most of the time, but that's not the point. They're making a follow-up game.
I know they are. I know. I don't know anything about the game.
They've advertised it with a ARG, an augmented reality game. Ooh. Why? Why would they do this?
Well, what's the issue?
Why?
What's your beef?
Okay, I don't have any problem with them making a follow-up to a very successful yet terrifying video game.
I love Amnesia.
But why are they advertising it in a way that will terrify people more? Surely you want to intrigue people, not scare them away. No.
Come on. Terror is intrigue these days. I mean, look at the Saw films. It's not even that. The Saw films aren't scary.
No. They started off as psychological thrillers and now they're just shit.
Yeah, but it's the same principle, isn't it? It's like saying, why don't you make something more out of those films? Well, because why would you? Why not just have them as being a horrible gore fest? Because that equals intrigue. People are like, oh, well, I'll go and see that. That looks as retarded as it actually might be. And I'm not saying Amnesia's retarded, but I think it's
I tried playing Penumbra, and of course Penumbra's the previous one in I want to say Theories.
Scary, that's the thing. It's dull. I can't I finished the first one, I finished the second one. I might play the expansion. I've got the expansion, but I never started it or installed it because I got bored. It wasn't scary compared to Amnesia.
See, I just can't play horror games.
No, normally I can't. I bought Dead Space and Dead Space 2.
Oh, those aren't horror games.
They're scary though at times.
No, they're not.
They can be.
You walk into a room, it's a long corridor, lights are flickering. You know yourself that you're gonna get halfway down, lights are gonna turn off, and there's gonna be either a monster pop up behind you, a monster against the window. You expect it. It's so cliched and predictable that it just can't be scary. Because you know that monster's gonna pop up, and you can shoot it with your gun that dissects people. It chops off limbs. How is that scary?
Maybe.
In Amnesia, you're like, holy shit, there's a monster. I can't do shit except run.
No. Don't get me wrong. Amnesia is scary in a completely different way, and in a way that was like massively superior to all horror games that have ever been made.
Dead Space is startling, and that's it.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, but that's like the easiest fear to have, isn't it? Induced fear.
Well, I'm not sure that's fear, because I can walk up behind you and, go boo, and that will startle you, but that's not scary.
No, do you know what would happen?
Would you get out your mining laser and chop off my limbs?
No, I wouldn't use a laser, I'd use a house. I'd pick up a house, CJ, and I'd just start smashing you on the floor with it. I'd be like, yeah, you wanna try and scare me, CJ? How do you like a house in your face? That's what it would be like.
There is a reason I've been talking about games.
I can't pick up, I'm not strong enough to pick up a house, just to clarify.
And that's because, the Guinness people, the Guinness World Records, I would say, but this isn't really a world record. When I say world records, you think of things that are actually measurable, fastest man in the world can run 100 meters in such and such seconds, that sort of thing. It's not up for a
You can't say like scariest game.
Yeah, you can't, that's subjective opinion, isn't it?
It is, and you can't have a world record based on a poll, can you? It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. So why the Guinness Book of World Records Gamers Edition has come out and say these are the top 100 video game endings? I don't know. It's either top 100, top 50. So they've come out with a list of top video game endings.
Okay.
This is something like that IGN would do, because they're stupid. But anyway. So, what do you think is number one on the list? Or what would you say?
In all seriousness, my favourite game ending of all time. Warcraft 3, the end of the expansion.
The expansion? See,
both of them. The end of the original was amazing, and the end of the expansion was like, if you played them in order, the end of the expansion I thought was just like, the most epic moment ever.
They were quite good, yeah. Right,
they were
so
good.
Let me tell you where those are in the top 50.
Okay.
They're not in the top 50.
How can they not be in the top 50? Like, I'm not saying they have to be number one, but those are amazing endings.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Call of Duty 4 is going to be in there.
Yeah, it is. It's number 23.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because they've gone
Call of Duty 4 wasn't a bad game in terms of storyline.
And the ending was good. Warcraft 3 is too old and not notable enough. That's the only reason it's not there. Not because the ending wasn't amazing.
You're talking about it from, like, let's go into formal game critic mode here.
Yeah, can I just say something before you go any further? Fuck these guys.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there. Fucking keep going. So we're doing well on that whole, making it a more friendly program.
We can talk about this from like a video game geek who plays video games point of view type thing, or we can talk about it from an actual an English student point of view.
No, we're not doing the. I mean, I'm an English graduate. I mean, do you play video games, CJ? I don't know. I'm not talking about it from an English graduate's perspective.
Well, if we consider that viewpoint, just for a second.
I think I threw that viewpoint out the window when I started swearing at them.
No, but if we consider the Warcraft endings from an English study, in English literature's viewpoint, they are generally good, well-written endings. Call of Duty Black Ops is not, and that is number one.
What? That's the number...
That is the number one video game ending.
I don't know. I can't comment. I genuinely can't, because I don't know the ending to Black Ops. I don't know the storyline of Black Ops.
I'm going to say it's got something to do with Russian zombies, but it's a Call of Duty game. No. It's impossible. It's literally impossible for anything like that to have a good storyline and ending.
Okay, no, I'm not going to say it's impossible because it's Call of Duty, because actually Call of Duty games can have good... I know, I actually don't much like the originals, but I think it's possible for them to have good storylines. I don't think it's possible for Treyarch to write a good storyline.
Really?
I mean, yeah, because it's Infinity Ward that write the good ones, not Treyarch.
What have Treyarch done? And
Treyarch made Black Ops. Okay, Infinity Ward made, I think, Call of Duty 2.
No, they didn't make Call of Duty 2. They made
that was
Call
Treyarch.
of Duty 2 Big Red one.
Okay, I knew it was something like that. Infinity Ward, okay, made Call of Duty 4. Obviously, like, the most popular... It launched FPSs into a whole new modern thing. And I don't want people... We don't have that many gamers who are listeners, but for the record, I'm not saying it's the best for FPS or anything. I'm just saying it was massively successful, which you can't deny it was. Modern Warfare 2 they made, and Modern Warfare 3. Treyarch made, like, all the other ones, and they made Black Ops. And they made World at War. I mean, that was a terrible game. And... Treyarch, basically, Infinity Ward, as I understand it, came on board to try and teach Treyarch a lesson about how to make games. Because they took twice the amount of time over making them that Treyarch did. Treyarch used to churn them out one a year. And Infinity Ward took 2 years over it. And basically, ever since Infinity Ward came on board, Treyarch have tried to, like, turn it around. So you get, like, Black Ops, which they spent 2 years on, I believe. The same with World at War. The only stupid thing was, Infinity Ward were obviously making it more and more modern. And then Treyarch came along and they were like, let's go do another World War game. Exactly. And then what do they do the one after? We need to make it more modern. Fucking Vietnam. Fucking Treyarch, piss off.
I'm seeing a lot of pent-up anger here.
I'm angry that we've lost the recording, CJ. I'm angry that I have to talk to you for longer today than I normally do. I'm knackered because I was up until like 2 o'clock this morning editing. And, I have a lot of pent-up rage. I think I need a therapist.
So the next on the list is Halo Reach.
We're just going to move swiftly on.
Well, I'm kind of enjoying talking about like this because, video games are something close to my heart. They're really important to me.
You're a sad case.
And then you got Halo Reach. You got Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time in number 3.
I mean, people love Zelda games, don't they?
I
say
really
people because I've never really got it myself, but I don't. It's fine.
And we go through the list. We've got God of War at number 5. God of War, I think, and when just comparing the top 5, God of War has a good argument for being number 1.
Oh god, God of War is difficult because
the first one was good.
I actually really like the third one as well.
Is that from a gameplay perspective, or are you talking from a literary perspective?
Let me clarify something. I'm not discussing anything from a literary standpoint today.
Well, I'm
talking about overall because the God of War games, the things that they do are really good. The kind of imagery, the everything about them.
The portrayal of myth and legend and that sort of thing is usually fairly good.
The way they do things is very cool. But storyline wise, have they ever really had?
The first one was, yeah. If you came in after the first one, like you picked up the second one, I was like, this is quite good. I'll go play the first one. Then you won't understand this. But the first one is your typical Greek tragedy. Yeah,
no, it is, and they don't give up on that. You can still see that in the third one.
There's hints of it, but the Greek tragedy is that you've got some person of high standing, usually male, who's struck low by some unfortunate event that isn't his fault, essentially. Is usually the gods. And then he has to go through some sort of process to make amends for it. And that's, of course, going through God of War, you can see those Kratos lining up with those
I'll tell you
points.
Which one I prefer, because, there's the whole amends thing in Greek tragedy. Shakespearean tragedy. Do you know what the definition of that is?
Shit.
The definition of Shakespearean tragedy is someone in high power and standing who falls.
Right.
End. That is a Shakespearean tragedy. There's no amends, there's no comeuppance, there's no revenge. It's just, hey, here's someone who has a pretty good life. Here is them getting completely screwed over. Credits. That is the Shakespearean tragedy. It doesn't get better than that.
Oh dear. But yeah, God of War should be number 1 out of those top 5. I want to move on because this is kind of like not what we said we'd be doing with this podcast format.
With the podcast, no.
But we're just talking about shit basically. But
this is a different show.
We've got Portal at number 7. Portal had a great ending. Final Fantasy 7 at number 9. Portal
cannot be that high. Portal's storyline was cool. It cannot be in the top 10 storylines of all time. That's ridiculous.
No, this is the ending. Just the ending.
The ending The ending can't... Oh, alright, the ending was alright. Yeah, okay, fine.
Super Mario Brothers is number 11. What was the ending to that? Oh look, Princess Peach is in this castle. Did
they actually find her?
I think they did.
Is that the only that's the only reason? That's the reason.
After 8 times going through castles
and
being like, I'm sorry, the princess isn't here, they finally found her, I think. Pokemon Black and White. I haven't finished Pokemon Black and White, but that's number 12.
Oh, no, I haven't finished either. Sorry, I don't play Pokemon. Just I retract that statement.
Why? There's no shame, okay? There's no shame.
No, CJ, okay. The difference between us is, I recognise that there is.
Oh, dear.
So I want to talk to you. I'm ending this right now.
Yeah, please do, because I'll just talk for ages.
You'll just keep going.
Yeah.
So, Will and Kate are
Princess and Prince and Princess Twit.
Well, they're not Prince and Princess, technically. I mean, he's a prince. Isn't she a duchess?
I think something like that. I shouldn't really say that, they're twits. I don't know them.
Duchess of Cambridge. No, I mean, they seem quite nice, really.
I think the two princes seem like quite quite upstanding chaps, you know?
You've got games on the brain. So, I mean, I don't want to kind of damage the pretty high chances that we have of them approaching us for an interview. I think, we don't want to knock them, it's fine. We would welcome them onto the podcast.
Oh,
and we would ask them their opinion about video game endings.
Yeah.
They've had a Barbie set made. They haven't. I suppose they haven't.
Is this like a Ken and Barbie type thing?
Exactly, yeah.
Did they actually request it, or?
I very much doubt it. Very much. They've been immortalised as a pair of Barbie dolls.
Wow.
I don't really know what to say about this. I mean,
I don't think anything needs to be said.
In a way, it really is one of those anecdotes, isn't it? It's almost like we say it and then I don't even need to comment on this, guys.
No, it doesn't. It's like form your own opinions. I mean.
No, there's only one opinion to form.
Yeah, form your own correct opinion if you
unless
wrong.
Unless you are a 7-year-old girl, there is one opinion that you may have.
I don't think 7-year-olds really know who they are. There might be the occasional one.
Also
true.
Really... Also true. Like, why would a 7-year-old be interested in the royal family? No, you know what it is. I'll tell you the only reason these have been made.
For the people who are like, I must have all the merchandise. These are the people who collect the mugs,
yes,
and the posters, and
no, good point. I didn't think that.
I was thinking cups.
No, I was thinking Barbie collectors. But you're right, royal family people and Barbie collectors. They've hit 2 markets. They've hit 2 demographics in one go.
I think we actually owe these people an apology because they've just something done. These people are fanatics. They will spend thousands upon thousands of pounds, dollars, yen
on our t-shirts,
on these products.
Yeah,
and these marketers are geniuses.
Do you reckon? No, I'm not going to go there. I'm thinking about me and you as Barbie dolls. That's just disturbing. I'm not going to go there.
I'm not sure they could render the flub correctly. I'm not sure my current physique would be suited for the Barbie doll modelling.
Just your current physique. 6 trillion. Now, can you explain something to me? Trillion and billion, okay? America started using trillions instead of billions. And I thought that was changed. And now when you say...
Oh, yeah, because they use a different measure of trillion and billion, don't they?
I don't know if they still do. I'm fairly sure it was changed, but don't hold me to it. So when you say like a trillion in English... when you say trillion in English, then it's, you go million, billion, then trillion. They were using for a while, if not still, trillion instead of billion. Which was massively confusing. There's a reason I'm not just rambling. Anyway, so $6 trillion of fake US bonds has been found in a bank vault in Zurich. Now, these are basically bank bonds from, like, the 1930s.
Yeah.
And they were found with a forgery of the Treaty of Versailles.
Lols.
So this is obviously to... I mean, if they're from the 1930s, right, they've got to be bonds, like government bonds that have been sold on. That's got to be the case. Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
I really don't understand all these bonds things, but I know that's worth quite a bit of money right there.
$6 trillion. Let me put this in context. That is a third of the national debt of America.
And see, if Obama doesn't say, okay, we're going to take this money and use it to pay off some of our national debt.
No. It's not real money, CJ. It's fake.
See, I told you I don't understand.
These are forged bonds, basically, found in a bank account in Zurich as part of a mafia sting. And there are going to be people, they think, basically, because they have this forged Treaty of Versailles, you know, that suppose, I mean, if it were real, then it would cement their validity. It would make them seem real. The bonds, this is. They were going to use them because if you, essentially, what a bond is, it's what it means that someone else is going to pay you back money. People, for instance, if a bank wants to, it's like the buying and selling of debt. You know, someone can pay money. Let's say someone like Richard Branson, and they'll say, yeah, I have this bond. This means that I'm going to be paid back this money, of like £1 billion or whatever. By this date. It might never happen. You might never get it paid back, but what you get in it is interest. And the bond counts as an asset, much like owning a house. So you can go to a bank and say, you know, I want to take out a loan, and they say, what do you have? And you say, oh, I've got this bank bond for £1 billion. And that means that's money in your name, even if you don't have the money. It's like having a house or a car. It's money without being money, essentially.
Right.
So,
you lost
they
me,
think
but
these,
carry on.
They think these people, you know, this is part of this mafia sting because they forged these bonds, supposedly, to get bank loans. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, okay, presumably these people aren't going to go into a bank and say, you know, here's $6 trillion in bank bonds, I want a loan. Because that would be a little bit obvious.
That would raise just a tiny bit of suspicion.
But let's just say for a second that they walk into a bank and they say, hey, here's 10 million in bonds. Here's the Treaty of Versailles.
Why?
How would this not, maybe I'm being massively ignorant. How would this not be a situation where the person behind the desk says, I'm just going to go and get my manager.
I just need to check something. Could you hold on a sec?
They press the silent alarm. The Treaty of Versailles.
There should be a what the fuck button as well.
Get the Treaty of Versailles. Like, why would you have? That's kind of like walking into an art collector. Like, hey, I've got a painting that you might want to buy, and you just like pull out of your bag the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean?
Oh dear.
I thought you might be interested in this. I just did it this morning. Actually, it's nothing famous.
Another what the hell moment. Of course.
Another WTF.
Of course, Whitney Houston passed away this week.
She passed away last week.
Last week. It was 7 days ago.
No, it was before we did the last episode.
It was February 11th, 7 days ago.
It was before we did the last episode.
Shut up your face.
I sat down. I had a conversation with my sister.
Okay, Whitney Houston died last week.
I had a conversation.
That I'm talking about occurred this week.
I had a conversation with my sister, and she said, you better not bring up Whitney Houston's death on the podcast. And I said, well, I don't really plan to. I said, I've got no interest in Whitney Houston.
Well, I don't either, but it's not so much Whitney Houston that I'm pissed off with.
Okay.
Okay, so Sony Music, of course, publishes Whitney Houston's music and stuff.
You say, of course, like we're supposed to know that.
Well, yeah, they do. Okay. So what do? Just 30 minutes after? I think it's 30 minutes.
They released her greatest hits.
No, it was already up there. Houston's 2007 Ultimate Collection was already on iTunes for £3.
They released the tracks that are going to be played at her funeral.
No, they bumped up the price.
Oh, now that is low.
That is low. That is
poor.
This is like less than a day after she's died.
It's what happens.
Bumping it up £1 or so. It's still a dick move, but
how much did they increase it by?
They increased it from £3 to £8. That's a large amount in terms of when you consider everything. what they also did, they did this at the time. Like, people would put in an order.
Yeah.
They'd say, I want to buy this, add to cart, purchase. And then the website would take a long time, and then it would update the price to £8. So people were purchasing this when they upped the price.
Mm.
Wow.
I'm almost sure that that's illegal. Like, you can't do that.
It's a dick move, isn't it?
There should be a system in place where, because if something's in your cart, you already think you're paying a certain amount for it.
Well, here's the thing, purchasing something is a contract, but there's no contract until goods have exchanged hands. So they can change the price whenever they want. It's just like when you walk into a store and there's a label on an item for, say, £5, to take it up to the counter, they say it's £6. You don't have any leeway there. You can't say, well, the label says 5, you've got to charge me 5. No, it's £6. Deal with it.
Yeah, but for instance, if let's say you're sitting on the last screen on the checkout and it says £3, and you click pay, and then you pay £8.
Oh, well, that's a different story then, isn't it?
Exactly. That's like handing the cashier your credit card, and as you're paying for it, the price goes up to £8, and they don't tell you, and they just charge you £8 for it. That's theft.
Yeah, well.
And that's got to have happened to some people.
What annoys me more is that Apple is okay with this. They allow these spontaneous price changes.
Of course they do.
It's Apple. They're dicks anyway. They are the king of dicks, but wow.
It's in Apple's best interest to keep the music.
I think this is...
I hate the music industry. I genuinely do, and I'm getting this. I never liked the way the industry was run, but especially recently, I'm feeling more and more kind of rage towards it.
Provisionally, you know me. This is the dick move of the year.
You know me, CJ. I don't rage about anything. I'm a very
Except
calm.
Me. You hate me.
You're speaking. Stop it. I mean, I've got one other story, but I just loved it because there was a photograph of a man crawling across ice to save a dog, and he was just wearing his underwear. I don't know why I've sent that to myself, but like, I do this.
I'll just go sit here and nod.
I do this where, like, I see something, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that, and I'll email it to myself. And I remember exactly what I was thinking when I saw this. It was just a photograph of a man wearing red boxer shorts, like, crawling.
Are they striped? Are they striped?
No,
is it just plain red boxer shorts?
No, they're just plain red. Which is a bit weird, really. I mean, where do you ever buy plain red boxer shorts?
I don't think I've got plain coloured boxer shorts in my cupboard. Well,
do yours
I take that back.
Flowers on them?
They're mostly like... carry on. I've never seen plain red boxer shorts.
We don't want to discuss your underwear. I'm just going to go out and... Why are you telling me about your underwear? I'm not going to do this again. Starting off with the conversation that we had, like, before we lost all the audio, I'm surprised it wasn't bloody women's underwear.
Oh, for frick's sake.
He's wearing plain red boxer shorts, and he's just, like, crawling across the ice. I mean, if you're crawling across ice, first of all, you don't do it on your hands and knees, do you? You do it, like, on your front, so you take up as much room as you can.
Yeah, I mean, hands and knees is better than just walking straight across it. But
yeah, I suppose
the whole point is to distribute your body weight, so you don't crack the ice. On your hands and knees, it doesn't work as well.
Firefighters were quick to condemn the man's actions as extremely dangerous. Now, I assume that they're talking about, his choice of colour in underwear rather than his crawling across the ice. I kind of think it's just it's a whole myth, the whole idea of taking your clothes off if there's a chance you're gonna get wet. Because I mean, at the end of the day, sure, your clothes might get wet and you might freeze to death, but what good is it if you're not even wearing any clothes?
Well, I completely agree in this situation, because if you get wet and you're cold, you want to put dry clothes on because that will keep you a lot warmer.
Of course, but unless you're going to be stuck in those clothes for hours, there's not much chance you're going to catch pneumonia. But I think getting practically naked and climbing out over an ice lake probably has a slightly higher chance of you catching pneumonia.
I think it's more hypothermia, but whatever.
Yeah, it is hypothermia, yeah.
But I think this has been worse in terms of tangents and stupid discussions than last week. No,
it hasn't. I don't know what happened last week. I think last week was... I was very tired. That's what happened last week.
Right, okay.
You weren't tired. Don't lie. Don't. That's my excuse. You don't have an excuse.
I'm going to leave you today with something funny.
Okay.
You heard of Vivo?
This is like the weird music label thing, right? On
Yeah,
YouTube.
they post music videos on YouTube, basically. It's what they do, and they're very protective of these. They're very, yay, copyright! Type
Yeah.
So, at a party, it's a party for the Sundance Film Festival, I think it was.
Okay.
I could be wrong, they call it a Sundance party, but whatever, that's not the point. Someone asked them to put, the Super Bowl on. And they was like, oh, we don't have it, blah, 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 we don't have something, or whatever. So, they got a laptop and used an illegal stream.
Okay.
To stream this into the party, the pub, bar, whatever. Now, of course, people got annoyed at this, because Vivo...
Why?
Well, it's illegal, that's the thing. People in charge of the stream found out about this, and they were like, you shouldn't be doing this.
Okay.
Because it's illegal, and Vivo was like, it's not our fault. We didn't do it. Someone accessed the laptop and put it on the stream themselves, even though it's our laptop. Now, does this not sound strikingly familiar to you in terms of copyright law?
I don't know in terms of copyright law, but it sounds like some kind of excuse that Chris Hansen gets on To Catch a Predator.
The whole point, behind the standard detection methods for copyright infringement, basically just IP tracking, is that you can't prove that Tim was downloading this, only that the computer or the internet address that Tim was possessing at the time was responsible for it.
And this is what I was ranting about a month ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is what they're doing here. They're like, oh yeah, it was our computer at our party and we were responsible for us, but you can't prove it was us. It wasn't us. It's not our fault. And yet, these guys are dickheads, and they're doing the same thing to everybody else.
Remember how I mentioned my contempt for the music industry?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to add anything to it. I'm just going to refer back to that. Happy days.
See footnote 2 or something type thing.
Yeah. See previous statement regarding the music industry, and then you go down to footnote 2, and it just says "fuck the music industry" in capital letters. You can find the website at thinkstuffpodcast.com.
You can Facebook us at facebook.com/thinkstuffpodcast.
Not podass, that's not
Podast.
No, it's not, it's just PODASS. This is the Podass.
Podass. Karen.
You can find us on Twitter at thinkstuffpod.
You can Google Plus us, the link is on our website.
Yes, and you can email us, email at thinkstuffpodcast.com.
Reddit. You can Reddit us at reddit.com/r/thinkstuffpodcast.
Suddenly it'd be like you can read it us.
Read it us.
You can read us.
I think that's the pun, Reddit,
Yeah, like,
as in I have read it.
Yeah. It's like stumble upon, but there's no pun in stumble upon, because
it's kind of like
I stumbled upon.
spelt correct.
So basically Reddit is just Reddit, but spelt badly.
Yeah.
Incredible.
iTunes. Stitcher. Sorry.
You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher.
Oh, we are. I'm just gonna, apologise from the bottom of my heart. I don't even know what. I mean, we're talking about video games, whether or not I have read boxers. Tim is obviously.
Will you take
drunk.
a photograph of your underwear for us? And put it on
I
Facebook?
will do. I make no excuses. I am truly and deeply sorry for the abysmal state of the podcast.
I'm not. I think people know what they're getting themselves into when they listen to us. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio and YouTube. Please do rate and review us on iTunes. We've had a couple of nice reviews on iTunes.
Yay! Happy feelings.
Nice. And that's about it, I guess. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter at Salty Whiskey, and you can find my website at twscofield.com.
I'm sorry, we did not agree on these plugs.
I'm just feeling like, why wouldn't I? Just the only reason we didn't agree on these plugs, CJ, is because you don't have any.
I do. You can sometimes find me on livestream.com/CJDoesStuff. Okay.
Yeah, you've used.
And I shall use the the website and Facebook.
You will not.
To
you
plug
will not.
this.
No, you will not. You are not using this is ridiculous. I tell you what. You wanna stream games? You can make your own Facebook page. Asswipe. You can go and make your own. I'm gonna remove your admin rights. You can't post to it anymore.